Hello there everyone, and welcome back to more Zelda 1 for the NES. In this part we're going to be going on to level 4, but before that I'm going to have a bit of a detour around the overworld as there's a couple of things that I want to get first. At least one of them was slightly annoying to get. Not particularly the most annoying thing ever, but I was just shy of a couple of rupees. Like, you'll see what I mean when we get to it also, because... well, I mean, it has been a while since I've seen this footage. I've said that so many times in every episode, but that's pretty much how this series is going, you know? I'm always, like, on and off with it, although I'm going to try and stay more consistent with it, really, because, I mean, it's just Zelda, and it's just, you know, it's just talking at the end of the day. I have a lot to say about this game. I like talking about video games and stuff, so, you know. Yeah, let's sit right here. So, in here, I'm going to buy medicine. Medicine? Okay, I mean, I call them potions, but okay. But I'm just shy off a couple of rupees, and I think it was just, like, literally just one. Yeah, it was literally just one. Like, it's always the bloody way, isn't it? If you remember before, I was saying about the potions, there's, like, a blue one and a red one. So, red one allows you to use it twice. However, if you buy two blue ones, it then turns into a red one. Because the blue one only allows you to use it, like, once. So, that can be a bit of a pain. Well, not really of a pain. It really depends, I suppose, on how you want to use it if you find that you only need it just a little bit. Because the cool thing about the potions is that they replenish all of your health, regardless of how many heart containers you have. I might have said this before in the previous episode, but, you know, I've said it again, just to be on the safe side. Last time, we also got the raft? Yeah, because there's a raft and there's another thing as well. I always forget which one it is, but I'm pretty certain it's the raft. We're going to use that to get access to a thing that we weren't able to before. And, well, like I said before, it's not particularly too exciting. The raft only works in particular locations. Like, you can't just sail out to any part of the sea as if, like, this was before Wind Waker. But, yeah. Along the way, though, I also do tend to grind for rupees just because it makes things a bit easier, you know, in case I need to grab something. I rarely, like, just scroll past screens without defeating enemies. It's kind of similar to, like, you know, when you play, like, an RPG or something where you have to kill the enemies for that experience. It's not exactly the same thing, but I'm just saying, you know, it makes things a lot easier to get around. Oh yeah, also I'm still at like only 8 bombs, because I mean I haven't got the upgrade for it yet. I was also debating whether to cut to certain sections of the map, but the problem with that is that when I do that, you can't really tell what paths I've taken, because the only map that you get is at the top left side of the screen. This grey box, that doesn't tell you shit, so it's probably going to be better for me just to, you know, show where I've gone, because it doesn't really take too long to get to locations either. Like, they're not really that far out. This particular part right here, though, is where I needed to go and utilize the raft. Like, after this, I could cut back to where we've been before, but again, because of just how the map is in this game, I think it's better if you just see where to go and stuff. Because, you know, sometimes I kind of think, what if some person is like following this along with me also, and if I just keep cutting to random places, they're going to be like, wait, what the fuck? How do I get there? You didn't even show that. So, you know, it works on some games, but this one I thought, Anyway, yeah, the raft, it's just right there, particular borders like that, that's the only place that you can use them, which is not the most exciting thing ever, but I suppose it does the job, doesn't it? I will say though, you know, for NES standards, especially like in the 80s, this was pretty good for its time. It had a lot of stuff going for it, particularly for games like Metroid as well. I'm pretty sure Metroid was like a combination where they tried to combine like Mario for the platforming, but Zelda for the exploration and stuff. So it's like, as if it's like a mishmash. Now, one thing I do kind of hate that I didn't do of this is I didn't pick up the arrow upgrade. Sometimes I have moments in this game where I think that picking up arrows will mean that I can't keep them forever. But you can. But what I mean by that is like, you know, you have like certain amount of arrows that you can only use. But no, as soon as you pick up the arrows, that's it, you have those infinitely. You can use those as many times as you want. And honestly, that's pretty useful, because at times it can be a pain, especially in some of the later Zelda games where you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, I've just run out of all these arrows. So you have to hunt around and find more of them, and yeah, it can be a pain. I'm not too sure why I went to the fairy fountain there. I guess maybe it was just to show, hey, there's a fairy fountain up here, but I lost like 2 hearts, so I didn't particularly need it. But, you know. Map design-wise, though, it can get a little confusing as to where to go, because some places do look identical. I can understand that. Like, there's not very much scope to the map, but at least things are placed around differently. And like I said, in the manual for the game, it came with a map anyway, so it kind of gave you a bit of an idea for it. This is back then when they wanted you to sort of draw out the map. I remember that for Metroid as well. It says you can draw out the map for it. It's like, maybe back then, but most people these days tend to just use a map on the internet, as it's effectively just speeding it up, you know? The raft was needed though to get into level 4. You know, without that it's not really possible to reach it. So when they say that you can play, you know, the dungeons in any order that you wish, some of them do require an item, so you might have to get that first. I think what I just mean is, you know, you don't have to play them in like order of like 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can just experiment, if you will. These enemies here are known as Vyres. And this is a point where I was like, yeah, I could have done with the arrow. See, I've got the bow, but if you shoot an arrow to the Vyres, they will die instantly, whereas if you hit them with your sword, they split up into these keys instead. It ain't the worst thing ever, but it is a bit slower, you know. Half the time you just want to go through the enemies like nothing and then just get on with your day. Oh yeah, and you also come across certain rooms where you have to use the blue candle to light the way. But yeah, I could have made this a lot easier with the arrow, but for some reason I didn't. Effectively though, you can use the boomerang to stun them so then they don't move around. Like, that also works. But yes, I don't know. This footage was just literally my first... Well, not my first attempt of Zelda, it's just like my casual attempt of it, you know, using muscle memory. So, however it turns out is however it turns out, because I mean... Well, that's kind of the design that Zelda has, really. I'm not too sure if it was like that in the second one. It's been ages since I played Zelda 2 properly. This is like, I did play it recently, but I played it for a bit and then I got kind of bored, so I'll have to go back to that at some point. It's way more difficult. Oh my god. Which is weird, because it's in 2D. You'd think that games in 2D would be easier, because, you know, there's just the direction going left to right. Whereas this one here is a top-down one, you know, there's more directions to take, the perspective and what have you, but no, Zelda 2, oh my goodness. Wow. Zelda 2, you've really got to get a hang of how to control Link and his attacks and stuff in order to progress. The only time that I've finished it was on the 3DS Virtual Console? Okay, so at the time, that was known as the 3DS Ambassador Games in 2011. When Nintendo rewarded people who bought the 3DS before the massive price drop that happened, they gave us 10 free NES games and 10 free Game Boy Advance games. Which, for some bizarre reason, the Game Boy Advance games are still exclusive to the Ambassador people for the 3DS. Like, they were never officially released available for everyone on the eShop. But the NES games were. The NES games, when we did first get them though, I believe it didn't have save states or anything as far as I'm aware. Like, you just kind of had the bulk game and it just, you know, you boot it up, turned it off and all that. Until eventually they did add save states, which, well, that was a bit more helpful for some of the more difficult games, because I couldn't really get through Metroid like that. So, definitely helped out a bunch for it. But I had to do that without Zelda, because Zelda 1 for the 3DS Ambassador games, I believe, came out in September. I can't remember the exact date in September, but it came out in September of 2011. And it was nice for those, I suppose, who never got to experience it, but I can imagine for those people who got a 3DS and also had all of those games already, it's like, well, what kind of bloody reward's this? I already got all this shit. So, I guess it's just different for each person, really. I also tend to not play the PAL version of this game because, well, it's a lot slower. It's way, way slower. The pitch is higher for some reason. Like, a lot of NES games have that. Like, even Battletoads. The PAL version, just the pitch is slightly higher for the music. It's like, that's not how it was. Like, what? Maybe some of them can be optimized, but I don't know. In the NES days, 50 Hz was just like, what the heck? This is wildly different. See, when Super Nintendo came out, there was maybe a slight difference of speed, but it was more optimized for the music. So, that done the job, really. It wasn't too noticeable, especially when it came to, like, PlayStation. Like, yeah, sure, like, the NTSC version of Crash Bandicoot is slightly quicker. You can notice it if you look at it really carefully, but where you play it, it's not too bad. At least I don't think so. I still feel like I control Crash Bandicoot in the PAL version. Oh yeah, and this is taking a bit of time, isn't it? Again, it's because I don't have the bloody arrow. I forget how much the arrow is, though. I think that's probably the main reason why I didn't go for it, because then I'd have to grind a long time to get stuff. Oh, bloody hell, these things. These things are likes. People might recognize these enemies, because, well, they're very annoying as they steal your shield. You can get it back, though, in games like Ocarina of Time, by just killing them and get your shield back. But this is one reason why I don't get the bigger shield, the magical shield, because when the like gets you, it is gone forever. It is actually gone, so you have to go out and buy another one. So half the time I do tend to get eaten by them quite a bunch, so I just don't see the point. The item we got right there, I believe, is called the step ladder. I can't remember the bloody name, so I'll put it up as an annotation. Bugger it. And that allows us to cross water-ish. Like, you can only cross certain tiles, like this particular part here. Yeah, I can just go across it now like a straight line, so I don't have to worry about it. The items are not revolutionary, they're not that amazing, but, you know, they do the job. I must have been scratching my nose or something, I don't know. Just paused for a couple of seconds for some reason. I don't know. Or maybe I was having a seizing fit. God knows. Oh yeah, the keys in this are also red as well. Just noticed that. Yeah, normal keys, when I come across them, are usually blue. I do believe, though, that's all the items for this place. Because, yeah, we just literally needed the step ladder and... No, actually, we need the map, don't we? Yeah, of course. Also, I forgot the name of this place for the level. I believe it's the Snake. And I can't be bothered, actually. I'll just put that up as an annotation as well. Oh, and bizarrely enough, the manhandler's here. So at times when you come across labyrinths, dungeons, whatever you want to call them, you will sometimes be fighting the same bosses. And this isn't the main boss of the dungeon. This is effectively like a mini-boss at this point. And I screwed up my timing for the bomb, so I had to just sort of like thrash away with my sword. But by that point, when you have all these hearts, it's not really much of a problem, especially with the white ring. I imagine if I didn't have the white ring, that would be a bit more of a pain in the ass. But yeah. Oh, and those gels right there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the snake. It looks like a snake to me, or some form of a snake. The best snake you can make out of rectangles. Ever notice that little blank space in the middle? Yeah, when you use a bomb on it, it leads you to a room with secret rupees. Some of it does stick out, but other ones, I don't know. eventually you just hit a point where you just end up bombing every wall you see, especially with the bomb upgrade, and then just see if you can uncover like a secret passage or not as well. That does sometimes tend to work. Walk into the waterfall. I'm fairly certain we did that. At least I think we did. I can't actually remember. Maybe we did, maybe we didn't. There's a secret old man in the waterfall around there also that gives you hints. That is definitely all the items in this area though. Usually it tends to be just the map, compass, and something else on top of that. Like an item upgrade or what have you. What am I doing? Just stabbing the thin air for no reason. I don't know why. I have taken a bunch of hits though on this. I could have done a much better job. Maybe if I had the arrow. I'm going to keep saying that because honestly, that's all I can think of whenever I see it. It's just like, oh mate, honestly. However, it is a good thing that I did get the potions, particularly the red one, because I just like the convenience of having it twice, because the boss is right outside. If I go in there now, I am dead. I'm not going to do that. So, instead, for that, I'll demonstrate how the potions do it. So, fire away. I wonder how many people thought that when they used that, the game froze if they couldn't really notice the hearts were going up. Because it was a bit of a sudden sound, especially doesn't help when the music cuts out as well. But I suppose it's the only thing you can focus on, really. This is Gleok. Its heads will separate when you stab it. I like to just go in there with full health and stab that thing to death. That seems to do the job. And yeah, that's how you do this dungeon. So I guess I will see you in the next part. We'll be taking on level 5. See you then.